Good evening. It's Thursday, February 6th, 2025. It's my pleasure and honor to be speaking with Mr. John J. Jeckovich. How are you doing today, Mr. Jeckovich?
I'm doing great.
You're looking well. We were supposed to have the glasses on. You're looking well. I heard you had quite an interview this morning.
An interview?
Didn't you have an interview this morning? On the phone, you had some type of interview?
Yeah, it was hard to do. That was a stupid interview, yeah.
It was kind of hard to hear.
Yeah, you got it on it too, yeah.
Yeah. They couldn't hear.
Yeah.
So, well, you answered all
She was asking stupid questions too.
Well, you answered them all correctly,
Yeah, well,
and you did a great job.
yeah, it's a good job.
Huh?
You did a good job.
Did you want to wear these for a little bit?
Remember?
No, why?
Just the light spray. Just try it. It'll be. Tommy and all the kids liked them.
They all like these glasses.
Yeah, there
on
you
him.
go.
Yeah, he looks pretty sharp in those.
Yeah. Tommy, your grandson from New York, said you look like you're from Hollywood.
Oh, yeah, kids from Holland.
Tommy's a great kid, and
Yeah.
Chris responded today. They're doing great. They're great kids. Tommy from New York and Chris from New York wish you the best today, and
Yeah.
they're both great kids. So you're looking well today. How are you feeling?
Good, feel good, yeah. Feel
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich is knocking on the door of 100. You said the other day you blinked your eye and you're 100. You felt like you're 20. Did it go by that fast? 20
good.
to
Oh,
100?
yeah, zips right by.
Yeah,
Zips right by.
it went by that fast. Wow. And you look nice in your new green sweatshirt, or sweater I should say.
It's OD.
What does OD mean for?
Olive drab.
Is that your military colors? Well, speaking of the military, I'll need your dog tag number.
42965.
That'll open up the laptop so I can read Mr. Jeckovich's book, which is titled Their Mother's Sons. Their Mother's Sons. That's a big book. How many pages is it?
849.
Well, we're getting close to the end. We're on page 817, so I hope that new book you're writing, you at least can give me a couple chapters to get started on soon,
Yeah.
because I'm running out of information. I'm running out of material. So, let's see here. Mr. Jeckovich was from Company H, the 2nd Battalion of the 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. Mr. Jeckovich lives by the motto, happiness is good health and a bad memory. And also, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. So we're getting to the point where we're reading about opening and closing the store, but I had a couple text messages. Who got into the war first? Britain, Canada, or United States?
World War II?
Yes.
Neither of them, none of them. There was the Europeans started the war.
Okay. And then the United States got into World War II right after the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor.
Yeah,
That was the point.
yeah.
Okay. And I'll read a little bit what Mr. Jeckovich said about Britain. After the First World War, Britain was much more prepared than France to let sleeping dogs lie and simply forgive Germany for their involvement for the war. So they weren't going to forgive them. Britain wasn't going to forgive them, and rightfully so. Bearing in mind there wasn't really anything to forgive at this point, since World War I was not Germany's fault. So why was Britain one of the first two countries to declare war on Germany? Because they're bombing them. Britain has been in charge of much of the discussion, and the appeasement occurred in the 1930s. If Hitler broke the terms of the appeasement, that is, if he invaded any lands that he promised not to, Britain would be held publicly responsible. On September 3rd, 1939, it became clear that Hitler was absolutely breaking the terms of the appeasement by invading Poland and had no intentions of stopping his attack. That's a big problem. He invaded Poland.
Yeah.
He was out of control.
Well, that's the start of the whole.
That was the start.
Yeah.
He was a lunatic.
That poor defenseless Poland.
Poland was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Bad luck. The British Prime Minister, Neville Chamberlain, responded with an announcement on the radio. This morning, the British ambassador in Berlin handed the German government a final note stating unless we heard from them by 11 o'clock that they were prepared once to withdraw their troops from Poland. A state of war would exist between us. I have to tell you that no such understanding has been received, and that consequently this country is at war with Germany. Okay, we're getting a little bit more into Britain now. The Royal Air Force, did you have a Royal Air Force?
Yeah.
And what do they fly at night to bomb or during the day?
Spitfires, they fight at night, yeah.
And what do they have, Spitfires?
Spitfires, yeah.
And what, could you describe the racket that they make, the noise?
Oh, yeah, the flames coming out of their exhaust, and when they come whizzing down, they whiz. They whiz.
It was scary.
This one were fast.
It would scare you.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of Britain's biggest contributions to World War II was the introduction of its band of fighter pilots, the Royal Air Force, or called the RAF. World War II was the first war that these planes played a major fighting role throughout the entire war. In World War I, most aircraft were used for reconnaissance, and only towards the end did the battles begin, a significant piece of history. The Royal Air Force was formed in 1918 and is the world's oldest air force that wasn't part of the Army or Navy. In World War II, the RAF became one of the most crucial parts of the British military, as the Germans were pioneers of aerial warfare. The RAF flew along with Polish, Czechoslovakian, and other Allied forces. And Americans, yeah. However, we combined, there were far fewer of them than there were German airplanes. So Germany had a lot of planes.
Yeah.
The small numbers in the RAF made it all the more impressive when they did manage to ward off Hitler's attacks. The most conflict was the Battle of Britain in 1940. But describe to us when you're in Haverford West with Gene Rowan Young. When you're in Haverford West with Gene...
We stayed airway shelters all the time.
But you said you would be walking with Gene Rowan Young and you'd hear him buzzing by. Tell us how that
10
sounded.
o'clock, the Spitfires come by, and they made in formation. 10 planes in the formation, in V formation. What the hell are these things?
That's all right. It's just a fly. Go ahead. Go ahead and tell us.
The V formation come over.
And the sounds?
Yeah, it sounds like hell.
And the flames?
And the flames coming out of the exhaust.
And the smell?
I mean, the smell, but they were up 30,000 feet.
So let me try to understand. The American Air Force bombed during the day, and the RAF bombed at night.
Yeah.
It was 24/7. It was
the hell out of Germany.
relentless.
Yeah.
Berlin was rubble.
Yeah.
Berlin was rubble. It never stopped. And you just see them go right over your head when you're seeing a picnic in Haverford West, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That must have been some sight. Did you also see the American planes going over?
Not too many. It was RAF and the Germans.
20 minutes.
Okay. The German aim in Battle of Britain was to bully Britain into peace settlement by attacking their infrastructure and later their citizens. The Germans thought that attacking Britain by air would be easier than doing it by sea, since Britain had historically controlled the ocean with the Royal Navy.
Yeah.
So most of this was by foot and by air.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, by the end of World War II, all sides, including the Pacific, including civilians, over 50 million people died.
Yeah.
What a
Air
terrible.
raids, air raids.
But the Germans were wrong. Even though they outnumbered the RAF 2-1, the RAF held off German attacks. Although there was a massive damage and loss of life, Germany didn't achieve the conquest they were after. This has been seen as one of the biggest turning points of the war, buoying British morale and shaking German confidence. So, by the RAF doing such a great job, it built up the morale in Britain. And
The RAF started bombing the factories in Germany that was supplying the Germans.
yeah, wow. The Blitz.
Once they cut that off, that was it.
Yeah. The Blitz is probably the most famous thing to happen in Britain during World War II. It refers to several months that the German Air Force spent bombing major cities, mostly London. So
Yeah.
London was in bad shape,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
London was hit hard, right?
And an air raid every day.
Every day.
Blackout every day.
In order to terrorize and kill the citizens of London. The name Blitz is short for Blitzkrieg, which means lightning war. They were relentlessly bombing London to turn it into rubble.
Yeah.
In German, referring to the massive use of bombs and explosives. While the Blitz refers to the attacks on many industries, as well as cities in Britain, is best known for its effect on London. So London got the worst.
Well, the Germans were after the manufacturers. If they could get rid of the stuff to supply the military, they would shut them down.
Yeah. During the Blitz, London civilians, especially children, were evacuated to rural areas to try to get out of the way of
the kids out in the country.
out in the country, to try to get out of the way of the bombs. But not everyone could leave the bomb shelters because it became a fixture of every home and neighborhood. And nightly air raid sirens signaled to the citizens that they needed to get underground or else be killed. That was a nightly occurrence.
Yeah, when the British soldiers were fighting the war, they got home, they didn't have the house left. They got bombed out.
Everything was gone, yeah. The German Air Force, or the Luftwaffe, dropped about 41,000 tons of bombs.
Oh, yeah.
41,000 tons of bombs.
And that was mostly to London.
Yeah. On Britain during the Blitz, an estimated death counts were around 40,000 civilians.
Yeah.
Not to mention the military lives lost. And then more than 1 million houses were destroyed in London alone.
Yeah.
1 million houses gone.
And a lot of manufacturing centers were opened up.
Complete chaos.
Yeah.
Years to rebuild. Yeah, wow. Rations on the home front. World War I was the first war in which British civilians had to really get involved in the war effect, and World War II took that to an even higher level. From producing supplies in factories to giving up material items that could be useful in the military. People in Britain were expected to do their part towards a war effort, so everyone participated.
Oh, yeah. War bonds. They were selling war bonds here.
Yes, and that gets to a good point where you brought up the war bonds. Mr. Jeckovich is an expert at refurbishing wood and furniture and working with his hands. He was once given a wooden phone booth it was built in the 30s or 40s, and it came out of the Beverly Hills Hilton in California. And Mr. Jeckovich was given the task, once he was retired, to refurbish the phone booth. You remember that?
Yeah.
And inside the phone booth, there were signs still of the 1940s, yellow signs and red signs, framed above the chrome rotary phone that operated on 10 cents. And those signs stated, Buy more war bonds than you
Yeah.
think you can afford.
Yeah.
Buy more war bonds you think you can afford.
The kids, they were selling the kids in school $25 war bonds.
Yeah. Okay. Laws were put into place that what materials could be used for activities in the homes. These laws were called rationing laws. Food was scarce, and the types that were available were things like tins of Spam, crackers. Spam came from World War II, by the way. Tins of crackers, canned fruit,
Fruits, yeah.
breakfast cereal. Fresh fruits and vegetables were around, were very expensive, and there was a thriving black market for every type of food you couldn't get legally. So the black market.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other things were rationed too. Rubber, metal, and even silk and nylons were used to make parachutes.
Nylons were expensive, yeah.
Yeah. An interesting thing here, the rubber generally was used for tires, but the United States in 1941 and a half, they put a excise tax on all tires to help support the World War II effort.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, if you would go buy some tires today in 2025, take a look. Take a look at your receipt. That excise tax has never been removed.
Yeah.
After 80 years, you're still paying the excise tax which was implemented in World War II. Let's see. No woman would want to be accused of withholding supplies from the government, but you couldn't just go to get stockings less. You couldn't go stocking less in 1940s. So it was acceptable, but ladies, part of their dress, they had to wear stockings.
Yeah.
You wouldn't go out without stockings in the 40s. So a popular practice of faking stockings sprung up. Faking stockings sprung up. Women would rub gravy all over their legs to darken their skin, and then drew fake seams up the backs of their leg with eyeliner pencils.
Yeah.
How creative.
Yeah.
Because back then a lady would not go out without stockings, so they couldn't have stockings, so they used darkened.
Well, the stockings were silk, and they were using the silk for parachutes in the Army, in the Air Force.
And by the way, once we're speaking of paratroopers, American paratroopers came to help at the Battle of Bulge in Bastogne.
82nd Airborne.
Yeah, because they were, the soldiers down in Bastogne were surrounded by the Germans. So 1,000 paratroopers came from the 82nd Airborne in December of 42 and January 3. And 1,000 of them dropped in. 1,000 of the paratroopers dropped in with good intentions. However, only 3% survived.
Paratroopers?
Yeah, of that particular battle. 3%, all the rest were slaughtered.
Well, Germans were shooting them down when they came down, but those guys closed that Bastogne down.
Yeah.
Paratroopers, yeah.
Yeah, that was they saved the day.
Yeah.
Okay. Mad Jack Churchill. Lest you think that the only British figures of note were the prime ministers and the Nazi supporters, let's talk about the famous John Malcolm Thorpe, Fleming Jack Churchill, a British soldier and the only man in the British military to kill more soldiers with a bow and arrow. So the Britons at times were using archaic weapons. In 1930, Churchill had a minor movie career and went to the World Archery Championships, but in 1939, like any able-bodied Briton, he joined the military. Just like the United States, any able-bodied.
Yeah, but he didn't get very far.
Churchill's son claimed that when the Germans were approaching Churchill, he said, "I will shoot the first German with an arrow." And he did. He showed up to the Battle of Dunkirk by bicycle, bow and arrow in tow. And
That propaganda.
okay, I agree with you. And got a few more good shots in before being flown back to England. With the flair for dramatic, Churchill also enjoyed playing the bagpipes
Yeah.
during military campaigns, using them as a call to action for his fellow commandos.
Yeah.
He happened to be playing them when he was captured by the Germans in Yugoslavia, but don't worry, he escaped through a drain pipe and started a 400-mile walk towards the Baltic coast.
That's a propaganda thing, yeah.
Okay. He was picked up by Germans again, escaped when they were being handed over between two groups of soldiers, and then walked another 93 miles to Verona.
Yeah.
When he finally found an American unit that took him to safety. I'll finish up with this here. In a massive oversight by Hollywood, Jack Churchill has not yet been the subject of any movies.
Yeah.
But if you want to see him on the silver screen, you can watch his 1952 film, Ivanhoe. You ever seen Ivanhoe?
Yeah.
Where he has a brief role as, of course, an archer.
Yeah.
Okay. So, minutes, please.
Eight.
So now we're going to get a couple pages under our belt of the store opening and closing. Do you want to read or want me to?
Go ahead.
Shed surmised and thoughtful reaction to what he was saying and smiled timidly, relieved that I was taking it so well. The only other item Shed mentioned was the time element. 90 days from yesterday to be moved out completely and premises empty and broom clean. Why the hell did it have to be broom clean if it's going to be bulldozed out?
That's the law. That was the law.
Broom clean?
And break all those pads out, clean it up.
That was a lot of work.
Yeah.
90 days, I exclaimed. That means I'll have to store the equipment while I find a place and then get it ready for our laundry. Where'd you find a place to store all that equipment?
He put it in stores. Then 3 years later, we were selling it. We sold the whole thing, $175,000.
One package, right?
Yeah, the whole package.
Wow. Yes, he retorted. It doesn't give you much time, and I don't know right offhand if the city will pay the storage. Did the city pay the storage?
No, the city did it up and down.
Shed thought they might. I mean, yeah. I have to find out. All in all, it was a difficult situation. Coming at the time when you're doing so well, the laundromat was doing great.
Yeah.
And getting settled with DeLuca, all that entailed.
Then they shut everything down. They had the stupid, what the hell they had?
Civic Center.
Huh?
Civic Center.
No. Yeah, they put the Civic Center in there.
It was a flop.
Yeah.
A big white elephant.
Yeah.
Okay. He did mention that my lease was up next month, and there was no sense of getting to that with DeLuca. The only consideration he mentioned was that he did not know how DeLuca would react to me being there at the store without a formal lease. Even though the place was going to be torn down, DeLuca still gave you trouble?
Yeah.
What a piece of garbage. What a piece of garbage.
You're a minister.
Yeah, you gotta love those ministers, boy. You gotta love those ministers, yeah. The city was giving 90 days to vacate, but I did not have 90 days according to my lease. Shed suggested that I plan on leaving in 30 days and forget about DeLuca and negotiating a lease with him. So what finally happened? Did you leave in 30 days?
Yeah.
Otherwise, DeLuca,
Wouldn't stick his nose in it again.
he would charge you more money for a building that's being torn down.
And then when I put the supports down in the basement, he wanted to charge me more. He said I was going to make it a restaurant down there.
Yeah. Another psychopath, another sociopath with no empathy. What a piece of garbage. When anyone tells you they're a minister,
And that stuff was vacant and stored and everything else for 30 years. He didn't do nothing with that building.
yeah, the baby.
And all of a sudden, when I came in, everything went hell.
Yeah, when Mr.
He was
Jeckovich,
gonna make all kinds of money.
Mr. Jeckovich was saying, the building that he leased to put in duplex giant wash laundry was in rough shape, and it was vacant for 30 years. And then Mr. Jeckovich fully remodeled it, and this so-called minister named DeLuca should be happy the building, his building is
$1,500
remodeled,
remodel that place, yeah.
and be getting good payments every month. But instead, he nickeled and dimed them on every turn. And so maybe a word to the wise: if you have people volunteering that they're ministers, preachers, or pastors, run.
Yeah.
You said, damn, what did he say?
Who?
You
He
said,
said, damn, he says, please, John, I'm a minister, and he's screwing me.
yeah.
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 Yeah, that was a pain in the ass, that whole thing.
And also keep in mind, if you're a landlord or becoming a landlord of a residential or commercial, live by the motto, the 3 Ps. Do not rent to the 3 Ps. The 3 Ps are preachers, pimps, and prostitutes. If you do, you'll have nothing.
All that nonsense going in, I got the city to give me a permit to put a sign on the west wall, which is facing the falls, and it's a duplex giant wash in big letter. I painted the whole wall, put the
Yeah.
big sign up, and they let me do it. And
That was
a tourist center.
Tourist section. Minutes, please. And by the way, it's 3 Ps. Preachers, pimps, or prostitutes. Don't rent your commercial or residential property.
Just under 3.
You'll live to regret it. Oh, and we're talking about Mr. Jekovich's laundromat. It was right at the base of Niagara Falls. When you'd go there, you would hear the roar of the falls.
Yeah, it was a scenic area too.
And right across the street was the fire hall and police station.
Yeah,
So when your wife went there to check on it, it was very safe.
yeah. Fire hall there too. Fire
Yeah.
hall was across the street.
And didn't you have trouble one time with your Volkswagen taking off?
Well, the Volkswagen was parked there, and the motor started up and took that car across the street.
That's because the starter engaged and the vehicle was in first one, just creeped it across the
Yeah,
street.
it was in gear too. If it wasn't in gear, it'd be a neutral, it'd never
It
go.
would sit right there spinning.
But I never parked the car in neutral.
No, unless you put on a very strong emergency brake. And then you had a fire there.
Well, the fire was in that, well, asshole didn't put a cement slab on top of that boiler, he put it on the floor. I said, what do you do? You gotta put that on the floor. I should have gone across the street and got the fireman over to tell him what the hell he's doing.
Who's the asshole?
Shitters.
Shinnis.
Yeah.
Okay, so what minutes?
140.
So Shinnis was a plumber, and you basically had to hold his hand to get anything done, and he was incompetent.
Yeah. From Buffalo. He was from Buffalo.
Did he remain the rest of his life as a plumber? What happened to him?
I don't know, I got wound up selling real estate someplace.
Really? So his name was Shinnis.
Yeah.
Wow. And he didn't follow your instructions. He put the gas-powered boiler on top of wood.
Yeah. And then he thought I had pumps. I didn't have pumps, they were all gravity because I put the pad up for the gravity flow for the washers.
Okay,
And he didn't pick that up.
so let me see if I understand this. Your washers were gravity fed, which means you built cement pads
2 feet up.
2 feet up, so when the water would rush down on gravity. But Shinnis, which you referred to him as the asshole, he put pumps, which was not what was
Well,
ordered.
I said, what the hell are you doing? I'm not
3
having
seconds.
pumps, it's all gravity fed.
And what did he say?
Oh, he said, okay. He had 3 of them installed. I said, well, you gotta get them out. He said, I'm not paying for that recharger. You gotta take them out yourself.
20 seconds.
And did he?
Oh, yeah.
And then how did gravity fed go?
Well, gravity went good because I was up 2 feet. And then I reinforced the floor.
Well, we got another one in the books.
Got another one in the books.
What do you want to do?
What?